Hi, this is Keith Andries. Thanks for watching my video series on roundpenning. Roundpenning is the first lesson in my Keith Andries Horsemanship Level 1 series of videos. In this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to establish yourself as the leader between you and your horse. You'll build trust and respect. You'll notice immediately once you get this exercise down that you've got a different horse, provided you follow the techniques I'm about to show you. Horse training is not for everyone. It can be very dangerous, even in the round pen. You might say, well, Keith, I'm 25 feet away from my horse, 30 feet, depending on the size of your round pen. That's true, but I can tell you from experience that it's not always enough room. If you have a horse that becomes aggressive, then you may not have enough room. What I'm going to ask you to do, and I'm going to try to point out during the video, are things that I want you to be looking for in your horse's behavior. The way he's carrying his ears, the way he's looking, just his general demeanor. Try to be aware of your horse's personality and how he's responding to the pressure that you're going to put on him through these exercises. What I'm looking for is a horse that is turned in slightly. I want them to be wanting to come to the center of this round pen where I'm standing. Now it's going to be impossible for me to cover every aspect or every circumstance that you might come across in the round pen with your horse, but I'll try to cover as many as I can and explain to you some of the things that you might encounter. Like I said, I'll take you through it step by step. This round penning exercise is a good way to determine your horse's personality. And what I mean by that is, what is his temperament for pressure? How is he going to respond to you applying pressure to him when you ask him to do something? Sometimes you have to be a little bit assertive when you point in a direction that you want the horse to do. If you ask the horse to move out and they're not moving and you have to apply a little pressure, you want to know how he's going to react. I'm going to cover some of these things during the round penning exercise that I'm going to be doing with an untrained horse, and I just want you to be aware of their behavior and the way they're responding to you. You definitely want to make sure that your horse is not becoming aggressive when you apply pressure to them. If they are and you're not, or if you're not sure, get with somebody who is trained and can evaluate your horse for you before you get into a confined area with a horse that may become aggressive, okay? I just want you to be safe and have fun doing this. So having said that, and giving you a few warnings about safety and aggressive behavior and that sort of thing, the other thing that I want to mention is sometimes you have a horse that is very fearful, and if you apply too much pressure on the horse, they may try to climb out of the round pen, literally, because they're so afraid. So you have to be aware of how much pressure you're putting on your horse. And I'm not suggesting that you babysit the horse or don't apply any pressure because you're afraid that they're going to overreact. If you apply pressure and it seems like that the horse is overreacting or becoming excessively afraid of what you're doing, you might want to back off a little bit. Don't stop, but back off some, take some of the pressure off so that the horse can feel that release and start to hopefully calm down. And you'll see that again with the untrained horse that I'm going to be working with. The first thing I'm going to do today, though, is kind of give you some idea of what I want the round penning to look like with my horse. The horse that's behind us making all the noise and probably walking around in circles on my hold your horses pole is going to be our untrained horse. Let's go ahead and get started. This is my stallion, Musteno, Acapella's Musteno. He's a Pasofino stallion. He is the first master trail horse with the Pasofino Horse Association. He's been through most of my training series. We're still working on some things now. We're in the trick training level now, but as far as the groundwork and the riding exercises, he's been through all of those now and doing a pretty good job. and we're constantly working on getting better. So let me just show you what the round penning is supposed to look like. I'll be right back with you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the halter off of this horse and turn him loose. So just pay attention to the way this horse is reacting to me. Now, I do use a training stick when I do the round penning exercise, and I'll explain that to you in just a minute. So I'm going to break the exercise down for you before I get started with the horse. The first step that we're going to go over right now is to create movement with your horse. Send your horse off in a particular direction. I'm going to review all of the steps right now with this horse, and then when we get to the teaching stage with the horse behind us, I'm going to break it down step by step. Each step will have a separate video. So the first step is to point to your horse so that he knows which direction you want him to go. I also use the point cue. This is the cue for the horse to move off, okay? And it's also the cue to tell him which direction to go. I also use it to tell my horse to speed up. For example, if I'm in neutral, if I'm just kind of standing here or walking in a small circle while I'm sending my horse around the round pen, if I need him to speed up, the first thing I do is point. And that should be his cue to speed up, that he's going too slow. So this is the direction cue, if you will, the direction and the speed cue. The next thing I'm going to do with my horse is I'm going to teach him to do a reverse to the inside. Okay, and I want him to turn to the inside. I've taught him both ways. I've taught him to do inside and outside turns. I'm doing the inside turn pretty much exclusively now because it kind of speeds up the process of getting my horse to establish the next step, which is draw. I want to be able to draw my horse off of that rail. I want to be able to pull him with my imaginary lead line. Okay? And once I pull him, once I draw him towards me, I want to be able to change direction. I can't do an inside turn, an inside reverse turn without some draw, okay? So the next step is to teach my horse to catch me. Once I establish draw and I'm able to get reverses in both directions and I've got it going pretty smooth, I'm establishing that draw. Then the next thing I want to do is teach him to catch me. Once I get him to catch me, which that means for him to come all the way to the center of the round pen, pretty much like this horse is standing right now, and allow me to rub him, pet him, walk around him, and that sort of thing. And then after that, then I want my horse to basically synchronize with me and stay with me. Some people call it joining up, making a connection, whatever it is, I want him to be with me. So hopefully that's not confusing and instead it's clear. So we'll get started with this horse. He's been tied up for, a couple of hours, eating hay and grain and just kind of taking it easy all morning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask him to move off to the left. My first cue is to point in the direction I want him to go. If he doesn't move, then I'm going to cluck. And then if he still hasn't gone, I'm going to use my training aid to encourage him to move on. This is for enforcement and desensitizing. So anyway, one thing I want to point out, and I'll show you in the untrained horse. If I point and my horse doesn't move, I'm not going to go chasing his tail, all right? I'm going to drive this shoulder right here away from me, which is going to get his front end disengaged, unlock him, get him moving, and then I can go to the rear of the horse, get behind the drive line. I'll do a full explanation of the drive line and your position and all of that once I start with the untrained horse. But for now, let's just look at, see if you can pick out the steps that I described to you in the round penning. So So there we go. Now, he just kind of trotted off there. In the paso world, he was doing a corto. Now he's got a little lope. He's trying to get going. And I'm just walking in a small circle. Now, there's my cue to hurry up. I wanted him to pick it up a little bit. So I've got my horse going in the direction that I asked for. Now what I'm going to do is ask him to make a turn to the inside and reverse his direction. So here's the turn. So he's kind of slowed down on me there. Turn. Okay, and the last and final thing, well, not the last, but the next thing I want to do is get him to catch me. Good boy. Ideally, I want my horse to hurry up and come to the center, okay? Now, when I leave, I want him to leave with me. I want him to be connected. I want him to join up. I want him to synchronize my movement and his. I'm giving him a few audibles just to keep him paying attention. He is a stallion, and I do have a couple of mares in the pen next door. So I'm just kind of trying to keep him focused. So you kind of drifted there. Get over here. Good boy. So that's basically what it looks like. So stay tuned, and I'll show you what it looks like with an untrained horse, and we'll get started on the round penning exercise.